Okay, elapsed time on standby has been about 10 minutes or so, and as you can see, the solder's starting to go. This is chip quick. As you can see, it looks like standard solder, but it's definitely not. Retune the surfaces a little bit of that one. The other one doesn't seem to need it. It's taken right away. That's the one I put the additional solder flux on. This one here was placed and had to come back up. So, and see where I bridged it there? Not good. Not good at all. So, I've got to take something and clean that off. And that didn't work. A little dab of that. And some solder flux impregnated solder wick will fix that. Hopefully. Usually does. It's on the gun here. I guess I tended a little too much. This plate is not as hot as I thought it was. Work is not nearly as up to temperature as I thought it was. Oh, by the way, the working temperature on the board right now is 160 degrees centigrade. Just under the chip. So when I place it, it's not supposed to be molten, but apparently there's something wrong with the temperature sensor. But it can't be off by much. Oh my. This is bridged. I bridged the MOSFET by tinning it. So to fix that. There. Okay, a quick swipe on the solder iron took care of that. Put it and take care of the chip flying across the room. Get it. It's down in my working drawer here. In the goo. Oh, shut up, puppy. Shut up, Mia. I'm doing a YouTube. Like she knows. Sometimes I think she does. Still a bit of a bridge there. Let's see if I can get it. Yep. Okay. That looks better. An abundance of flux on this board, but I think I'll use every bit of it. Again, checking the orientation of this thing. I don't have the steadiest of hands. I'm 60. So, as the chip gets up to heat, it's going to be stuck there for a little bit. Once it gets up to heat, we should be able to move it around a little bit. It is okay for these things to reach 160, but not much more. 160 should be just below the temperature required for the solder to float, so we should be working just under it, but apparently we're not. Not too concerned about it because these chips can take quite a bit of heat, as you're seeing. Okay. There, see how it moved? Okay, she's just about placed, but I've got to be careful not to touch that hot plate or I will be going to the clinic. If I can find one that'll take my insurance. There. You can see my work is not the steadiest. There. Okay, she's about placed. Let me check this one again. This one has to go over a little bit. Okay. They are placed. And we'll try to get some chip quick on them. Yeah, chip quick is taken right away. and I'm not even using the solder gun at this solder iron at this point. As you can see, the chip is still mobile. And contact there. I want to get a dab in there, but it's wanting to bridge. I can't do that. There, got it. It did bridge a little. I'm going to have to pull that one. It bridged. The chips, as you can see, are up to temperature, so they readily move around until you pick them off the board. Then they're cool, and that is bad for them, by the way, to allow them to cool a great deal rapidly. When this is over, you'll notice that well, that's hot. That I just shut the board off and leave everything where it is. That's to let it cool on its own. I'm trying to do this, but I have nothing to steady my hand with. I'm trying to do this with, there it goes. Okay, that's where it belongs. It's centered. I don't see any bridge underneath. I'm gonna put a little more right over here. God, that's hot. Chip quick is the only way to go on this. You can't do it with regular solder. It's simply, it'll work, but you've got to put so much heat on these things to get them to the regular solder to work, and then you deal with the stick issue when you pick a piece off. Okay, that's it. As you can see, they're mounted. I will now shut the IRTA board's hot plate off. What you're hearing is the infrared heater fan, and it runs constantly. I know it's loud and was not used for most of this demonstration, but it's a product of the board. It runs whenever anything is active on the board. But that's it. That concludes the MOSFET mounting. Of course, disassembly is just backwards of what that was. Once you heat the hot plate up underneath, once it gets to temperature, they will pick right off of there if your tools get up to temperature. As soon as you touch the chip with a tool, expect it to cool and, of course, stick back to the work. Everything has to be molten. And originally, with regular solder, you do have to use a substantial amount of heat, which is why I choose chip quick on replacement, because everything is already stressed, and it's best to use something that is under the stress level of most of the components on the board. So about 10 minutes from now we'll be able to remove it, and I'm going back on standby.